And welcome on in, everybody, to the Jazz Huddle. And the playoffs are finally here, Blake. We have waited so long. Back when we streamed the first game on December 23rd, I believe it was, against the Blazers. And now, flash forward 5 months, it is now May 22nd. And 5 months after we started the season, the Jazz will kick off game one of the Western Conference quarterfinals against the Memphis Grizzlies. Not the Lakers, not the Warriors, but the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know why I said it so weird, but the Jazz have a more favorable first round matchup than most fans were anticipating. I believe you and I both picked the Warriors to beat the Grizzlies last night, and we're expecting a first round matchup against the Warriors. And I'm not going to say I'm going to complain about the outcome that happened, but we're kind of going to dive into that during this series preview. Again, we'll appreciate everyone stopping on in. Make sure before we break down this series to smash up the like button, guys. And, of course, hit that subscribe button as well. If you are new to the channel, we are going to be going live for every single Utah Jazz playoff game here on the Jazz Huddle. So hit the like, the subscribe, and turn on those notifications. But, Blake, first round matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies, a much more favorable matchup for the Utah Jazz than going up against who right now is playing like the best player in NBA basketball.
Yeah, I mean he had been killing it for several weeks leading up to the play-in games. So it's really nice for the Jazz to be able to avoid him, but you can't sleep on these Grizzlies. I mean they're going to be fun to watch. They always have been. I guess we'll see if these young players can come out and perform in the playoffs, but they also have some guys who have been through it before. Jonas Valanciunas, he's one who's been through the ranks, and he's been in a couple playoff situations. So, I feel like they're a good team. They're deep. They have a lot. They have a lot of guys who can make plays. So it's not going to be a free series for the Jazz. They're going to have to work.
We're gonna have to work, especially because of how good of a defensive team that Memphis is. While they didn't, I would quote unquote limit Steph Curry, they limited Steph Curry. You look at the defense that Dillon Brooks played on Steph Curry last night. It was some stat through the third quarter. Steph Curry had 15 points on everyone else. On Dillon Brooks, he had 4 points on 2 of 10 shooting. And so that's going to be someone that's probably going to be on Donovan Mitchell, who has said that unless barring any major change, he will be back for round one, which is so huge for Utah. We did beat the Memphis Grizzlies once in the regular season without Donovan Mitchell. After the whole plane incident, he didn't feel safe making the trip. And we still went to Memphis on the road and picked up the win. So, he's going to have to work off some rust. He hasn't played in a month, in a week. So it's going to take some time for him to get back. And it's going to be even tougher when Dillon Brooks is going to be the guy guarding him. And so, that's a little worrisome that I would say I have. But, when you look at the Jazz are clearly the favorites in this matchup, as they should be. They match up really well against this young Grizzlies squad. This Grizzlies squad doesn't have a lot of experience. Most of that experience came. This Grizzlies squad has not played together in a playoff game. They were in the playing game last year against the Portland Trailblazers, and this year they did win 2 of the playing games, but they have not played in a playoff series. Grayson Allen hasn't played in a playoff series. John Morant, I don't think Dillon Brooks has. Kyle Allen, I don't know. They could have on other teams, but as far as this team,
is the thing. With both of those teams, you have a bunch of guys, especially on the Warriors, who have been through it all. They've won championships and all that good stuff. On this team, there's not really much of that, but these are some smart basketball players. I mean, you really look at Kyle Anderson, one of those guys who can do it all. He's good offensively. He's really good defensively. I've always liked him, and I feel like he's going to be able to do some pretty good damage.
And here's what it comes down to. One, Donovan Mitchell's got to work off that rust and hopefully comes out strong. We're clearly the better team, defensively and offensively. Clearly the better team. It comes down to execution.
And also,
it's not even so much adding stuff. Like if we were to play the Nets, we'd have to adjust some things, or the Sixers, or the Lakers, or the Clippers, who we will probably see in round 2. That's not what it's like against this Grizzlies team. If we do these simple and little things right against the Memphis Grizzlies, the Jazz will win this series and very well could sweep the Grizzlies. Well, I don't think the Grizzlies will get swept. I think Utah does win this series, and I think they win it in 5. And I believe Blake has the same thing. I'm not too sure. He'll touch
mine.
And 6. Okay.
And here's what I'm looking at, and this is just one thing I want to touch on. If the Jazz can really take advantage of the bench unit for the Grizzlies, I'm not saying that they're not deep, because they are. They have guys like Grayson
They're
Allen who
not
can
as
come
deep as
off the
us, though.
bench, but they're not as deep as us. Not even close.
When
Jordan
you
Clarkson
got
and
it,
Joe Ingles also.
yeah, and that's what I'm
Two
talking about. You
six-man
gotta have
candidates.
you guys got you got sorry, you guys. We have got to have Jordan Clarkson come up big off the bench. Joe Ingles come big off the bench. And you got to think of the little things. He won't get much time, but Trent Forrest, when he gets those
Yeah.
minutes, you got to play locked down defensively. I'm sure they'll match him up with John Moran at some points in the game. And then the guy I'm looking for the most out in the playoffs. This is the guy I want to really take the next step, and I feel like he has during the season, but I want to now take another step. George Niang. I want George Niang to just ball out in these playoffs because he's been doing it during the season. I'm a big George Niang fan, and hopefully we get that out of George Niang.
Yeah, that would be sweet. It just comes through the ball movement. He moves off ball, particularly. That's his biggest, attribute, just getting open and finding ways to make threes. But I kind of want to see him on ball a little bit more.
Right.
Having the ball in his hands, especially late game, he needs to be able to develop that to make him a real good asset in clutch situations.
And also something else I like about this series is Memphis is not the greatest three-point shooting team. You saw they knocked down a lot of three-pointers yesterday, but overall they're not a great three-point shooting team. And so if we can trade threes for 2, we got to be hitting those threes. We can't be having those, 8 of 37 nights like we did against the Trailblazers back in early May. If we can just knock down even if we just make even a little less than half, we go 15 of 30.
Right.
Or 15 of 32. That's going to be enough.
Right.
Because
absolutely.
the Grizzlies aren't going to hit 15 threes in a game. Or if we can we go 18 of 39. Grizzlies aren't hitting 18 threes. And as long as we keep that bench production up, I like Utah in 5. I think the Grizzlies get game 3. I think Utah goes up 2-0, sweep the Grizzlies on their home court. Grizzlies get 1 in Memphis, 3 or 4. I would go with 3, but I'm not 100% sure. And then I think Utah closes it out in 5 and awaits on the Dallas Mavericks and Clippers series, which we will have our predictions of the entire playoffs up here tomorrow on Sunday morning. Obviously, there will be 4 series that already have 1 game, but we have already made our playoff prediction. We're just going to post it tomorrow. But Blake, what is yours? So I got Utah on 5.
I'll take Utah on 5 or 6 in this one. I feel like they also have a huge advantage. Memphis is going to have fans in the building, but Utah expanded their capacity 13,000, which is second biggest in the NBA, as far as I know. New York has the highest at
15,000, which surprises me actually. Yeah. But I think once we get to round 2, especially if we match it, whoever it is in round 2,
they'll move it up.
What do you call it? Whoever it is, they're going to bump it up. Probably they might even sell out. If we get to the Western Conference Finals, they're selling that place out. The playoffs. If you're there, get loud. It is time to make our first ever run at an NBA title, Blake.
Yeah,
it's about time, right?
Let's
get it done.
Excited.
Let's get it done. And if you guys can't make the game, you can't find a way to watch the game. Being here on the Jazz Citadel, me and Blake will be covering every single Utah Jazz playoff game for you, no matter what. We have paved off our schedule to make sure we do not miss one. At least one of us will be covering, guaranteed. Thank you guys so much for watching the series preview. We'll be out with our playoff prediction video on Sunday morning. And then, ladies and gentlemen, be here 9:10 Eastern time. We will start the stream for the Jazz and Grizzlies as the Jazz look to defend home court and take game 1 for the Grizzlies on their path to the NBA championship. We'll see you guys in there. Smash the like, hit the subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And we'll see you on Sunday for the Jazz and the Grizzlies.